Peace, peace, peace. What's going on? So here we are, day two, part two, my Quantum Bible series. Peace and blessings to everybody who came to join us, and peace and blessings for everybody who's watching and who's going to see this in the days to come. So what I decided to do is, like I mentioned before yesterday, I was dealing with some health issues, and as I'm dealing with my health issues, I was focusing more on trying to be more mindful of my spirituality. So I had to get my prayers up, I had to get my meditation up because I was determined to walk through it and make it through it using my spirituality as a tool to heal myself. And of course, me focusing my mind on my spirituality was just what I needed to help myself get stronger and rapidly regenerate myself. And as I was laying in my bed, gaining my strength, my mind was wandering with all the praying and meditation that I was doing, with all the reading of mysticism and reading the Sufi books. My mind started to unlock a lot of the secrets of the Bible, and I started to see the Bible in a very different way. I saw it not necessarily in a religious sense because I don't follow religion and I don't take the Bible as a literal book. I think the Bible is 100% true, but I don't think it's literal. I think the Bible is filled with a lot of in-depth spiritual symbolism. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to do this series, the Quantum Bible series, as a means of helping us to unlock the scientific secrets that are hidden in the Bible. So this particular episode of this broadcast is going to cover angels. I wanted to talk a little bit about what angels are. Now, of course, in the Bible, angels are the messengers of God. When God does not want to appear in a place, or if God wants to deliver a message, or he will send an angel. In the Bible, they mention different kinds of angels, but they only mention the names of two angels, Michael or Michael and Gabriel. But they mention three kinds of angels in the Bible. Now, if you study angelology, there's other angels mentioned, but I just strictly wanted to stick to the angels that were mentioned in the Bible. There's three angels mentioned in the Bible. There is seraphim or seraphim, there is the cherubim or the cherubim, and the ophanim. We're going to cover each of those, and we're going to talk about what they really truly mean. Now, as far as I'm concerned, when they talk about messengers, of God in the Bible, I kind of see it and interpret it the way the most honorable Elijah Muhammad from the Nation of Islam interprets it. He sees all of it as not being spooky. He sees these individuals as people. And I kind of see it that way in a sense as well. I see the happenings of the Bible as being the work of a series of initiated, learned masters who would have these disciples, they would send the disciples out to deliver messages. Gabriel was a disciple. To me, Gabriel is a job description of a person who had been initiated, who was in a, I guess you would call it a secret society, who was given the task of delivering messages. Same thing with Michael. But that's just my personal theory. Um, but I also believe that these angels are symbolic of something in our reality. I believe that these angels are symbolic of quantum particles. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that when you read the Bible and it's talking about angels and what angels can do, they're talking about subatomic particles. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, that makes no sense. How did they know about subatomic particles? Well, keep in mind that, according to the mythology of the Bible, the um, the ancient Israelites came out of where? They came out of Egypt. If you look at ancient Egypt, they taught about Atum Re, who was a sun god, but he was also when the Greeks came to ancient Egypt and they were educated, Democritus, who was an ancient Greek who was credited for coming up with the theory of the atom. How did he come up with the theory of the atom? He had just come out of ancient Egypt as well. A lot of these Greek philosophers were educated in ancient Egypt and they were educated into these mystery schools. So he's sitting there learning about Atum Re, and goes to ancient Greece and says, "Hey, I got an idea for the fabric of reality, the substance, the building block of reality. We'll call it the atom." So a lot of these individuals at those times were theorizing about what the universe is made out of. They were theorizing about what is the building block of reality, and they, you know, it's not hard to imagine if Democritus can theorize the idea of an atom being a building block, a quantum particle being the building block of reality. Why wouldn't people before him have the same theories? Especially a highly advanced civilization like ancient Egypt. And not to mention the fact that in Africa, you look at the Dogon people. The Dogon people believed in something called Amma's egg. They believed that God was Amma, and they believed that this God Amma had an egg. And when you see drawings and sketches of Amma's egg, it looks like an atom. It looks just like a modernized version of what an atom is. And according to the mythology of the Dogon people, the whole universe was within Amma's egg. And then when the egg cracked, everything in existence came out of it. And they believed that Amma was a god that was so small that he exists within everything and everyone, right? That sounds like an atom, right? It sounds like the Big Bang Theory, the idea that all of reality was in a pinpoint that was, the size of an atom or smaller than an atom, then it exploded, and our reality and all substance in our reality came out of that explosion, right? So don't get it misconstrued and think that just because something is ancient that it can't be scientific, and don't think there can't be spiritual symbolism and scientific symbolism in what we're talking about here, right? So let's go through it and talk about why I believe that these angels are symbolic particles. First of all, angels can travel to different dimensions. When scientists are looking at the math of string theory, they realize that there's more than just our four dimensions of length and width and depth and time. They realize that there's 11 dimensions or perhaps even more dimensions in which we're seeing these quantum particles, these atomic particles and subatomic particles casually going from one dimension to the next. We are limited to three-dimensional space, or we're limited to the space-time continuum, I should say, whereas subatomic particles are not. They can hop, skip, and jump to other dimensions whenever they choose. I mean, not saying that there's a choice, not saying that they're conscious, but they can move easily from one dimension to the next, the same way angels do. Angels go from heaven to earth. According to extra biblical mythology, angels can travel from heaven to hell, from earth to hell. They can travel to the realm of the spirits. They can travel to the realm of the jinn. They can go to a lot of different places. They can go to different worlds whenever they're summoned, whenever they're commanded to, whenever they want to. Just like these subatomic particles, they can travel to different dimensions. Also, angels travel faster than the speed of our senses, so they can move in ways where we can't detect them through senses. They can move faster than the speed of thought and faster than the speed of light. What else can travel faster than the speed of thought? Well, we know subatomic particles can. And we know that subatomic particles also, or some subatomic particles are theorized to also be able to travel past the speed of light. Now, they say that the speed of light is the fastest thing in the universe, but they theorize that there's a particle called tachyon that can travel faster than light. And even some neutrinos, they believe, can travel faster than the speed of light. Right? Now, they also say that quantum particles can carry messages, like God, like the angels. The angels carry messages for God. They say that subatomic particles can be used, or quantum particles can be used to carry information as well. Right? Also, quantum particles have enough energy within them that once they're split open, they can level cities, the way angels can level whole cities. You remember the story about Sodom and Gomorrah, about how Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed by only two angels, right? And I was reading this one book when I was very, very young. An archaeologist was saying that when they discovered the remains of Sodom and Gomorrah, it looked like an atom bomb had hit it. It was so devastated that it looked like a bomb had been dropped on it. So a lot of, if you read the scripture and learn about quantum particles, you'll see that there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of synchronicities between subatomic particles and their capabilities and the capabilities of angels, right? So now let's deal with the description of the angels, which I think is very, very important. It's very important to understand how the angels were described. And I'm going to read you the scriptures now. So first, we're going to start off with the description of the seraphim, the seraphim. It says, above it stood the seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. And one cried to another, holy, holy, holy is Yahweh of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. Now they describe the seraphim as having how many wings? 6 wings. I want you to remember that number. They have 6 wings. Next, we're going to describe the cherubim. In 1 Kings 6, chapter 10. Also in the sanctuary, he made 2 cherubim of olive wood. So they're talking about a statue of a cherubim in the sanctuary of the temple. Each 10 cubits high, 5 cubits was one wing of the cherub, and 5 cubits the other wing of the cherub. From the end of one wing to the end of the other wing were 10 cubits. So basically, what they're saying is that there's one wing here, there's one wing over here. That's 2 wings. Remember that. 2 wings for the cherubim. Now, as far as the Ophanim are the word Ophanim means wheel. And essentially what they're describing is they're describing a supernatural creature or an angelic creature that is shaped like a wheel. So it looks like 2 wheels intersecting, both spinning at the same time, going in the direction of where the cherubim is standing. And these wheels are actually the wheels that support the throne of God. The Merkaba of God, or the chariot of God, as God is moving throughout the heavens. You have the Ophanim, or the Ophanim, who are the wheels. Now, Ezekiel 10, verses 9 through 13. And then I saw 4 wheels beside the cherubim, one beside each cherub. The wheels radiating were sparkling like diamonds in the sun. All 4 wheels looked alike, each like a wheel within a wheel. When they moved, they went in any of the 4 directions, but in a perfectly straight line. So with these numbers, 4 wings, 6 wings for the seraphim, 4 wheels of the Ophanim, and 2 wings for the cherubim. 2, 4, 6, 8. Why are these numbers important, and what's the whole point? Now, keep in mind that I'm telling you that these angels are symbolic of quantum particles. It's very important that we remember that. Quantum particles. We are dealing with particles. We're not dealing with the supernatural element of it. We're trying to deal with the spiritual science of it. We're trying to deal with the spiritual science of what we're reading in the Bible. So we're trying to take what we're seeing in the Bible and we're trying to put it into the real world and see if these ideas match up with something in the real world, with some phenomena in the real world that pertains to us personally. So I'm trying to take these numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, that we're reading about in the Bible and these different kinds of angels in the Bible. We're trying to figure out if there's any significance to this. So as I'm sitting there and I'm studying this, and my mind is racing and I'm trying to piece everything together, it occurred to me, well, since we're dealing with quantum particles, let's look up these actual particles. So I decided to look at the periodic table of elements. Periodic table of elements, 2, 4, 6, 8. They all coincide with elements in the periodic table, right? Elements in our world, elements in the universe. What is 6? 6 wings of the cherubim. 6, cherubim, is carbon, right? 4 is a element called beryllium, and 2 is helium. So I'm like, man, what is this? You got carbon, you got beryllium, you got helium. I'm looking up what beryllium is. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And as I'm studying and breaking it down, I come across something called the triple alpha process. Remember that phrase, triple alpha process. Triple alpha process. What is the triple alpha process? I'm glad you asked me that question. Triple alpha process is a process that takes place in stars. Really old stars, really heavy stars, they have the triple alpha process. The triple alpha process is a process in which these elements come together and they make more carbon. The carbon, the helium, the beryllium, they all come together to make more carbon. They make an abundance of carbon during the triple alpha process. Why is this important? Because we wouldn't have the carbon that our bodies are made of. We wouldn't have carbon in the universe if it wasn't for the triple alpha process that takes place in those stars. We would not be here had it not been for the triple alpha process. See how this is all connecting now? It's all connected because the symbology of the angels showing that we are here. They're showing you how we came about and how we came into existence through showing you the angel particles in the scripture. We would not exist had it not been for that 2, 4, 6, 8 of those particular elements. If one of those elements was not there, if one of those seraphim was not there, if one of those particles were not there, we wouldn't be here. And then you take 2, 4, 6, 8. What's 2, 4, 6, 8? 2, 4, 6, 8 equals 12. And of course, you know the Bible is full of the number 12. There's 12 tribes of Israel, 12 sons of Jacob. On the breastplate of the high priest of the temple, there were 12 jewels. Jesus Christ had 12 disciples. There's 12 gates in heaven. You have 12 cranial nerves in your skull. Jesus Christ had 12 disciples. I believe I mentioned that one already, right? And on and on and on. Why is the number 12 so important? The number 12 is so important is showing you completion. When something has 12, I was reading in an article by a Jewish scholar, and he was also breaking down Kabbalah somewhat as well. But he said that the number 12 is an indicator that all the necessary parts of the system are there, that everything is complete and that everything is fully functioning. Everything is ready to rock and roll once you got that 12. So that 12 is letting you know that once human life is here, once human life is there, that's when everything is complete. That's why in the Bible it says God made man on the seventh day he rested. It was complete at that point. Mission accomplished. When you have those three elements, the seraphim symbolizing the carbon, the cherubim symbolizing the helium, the ophanim symbolizing the beryllium. Once you have all of that, everything is complete. Human life is capable. Once that triple alpha process is complete, you'll have the carbon necessary to bring forth us. I keep telling people when you read the Bible, stop seeing the Bible as being about some God that's up there and see it's telling you a story about your own personal development and a God that's here, a God that's in you. Do I believe in a higher power? Of course, but I believe that higher power is infinite and everywhere. So it means if it's everywhere, it has to be within me. So instead of me worshiping up, I worship in. I don't worship up. I look within me and I pray and I say, give me the energy, give me the power so I can overcome this. When I was laying in that hospital bed and I thought I was going to die, I wasn't praying up. I wasn't, please bless me. I was like, give me the power so I can overcome. Let me know what I have to do to bring myself back to a state of strong health. And help me go beyond being strong health and help me get back on the path of perfection and spiritual achievement. And I set a goal for myself. My goal when I was in that hospital bed is I said, what do I really truly want? And I said, you know what I want? Mosquitoes tearing me up. I say, you know what I really want? What I really truly want is I want to be a spiritual master. Of course, I want abundance. Of course, I want to be able to help the community. Of course, I want to be able to get some money and leave some money behind for my children, but I want to be a spiritual master. I want a closer relationship with God. I want a more disciplined relationship with myself. And I want a closer relationship with myself, which is a closer relationship with God. You can't connect to the infinite power of the universe that I call the creative hyper reality. You can't connect to the creative hyper reality if you can't connect to yourself. It's a process of self-discipline. That's how you meet God. Your discipline is the bridge between you and the supreme being. Your study is the bridge between you and the supreme being. Getting to know yourself and unlocking yourself. That's the key to bridging the gap between you and the supreme being. The mathematical equation, the mathematical equation for God could only be solved with us. We are X. We are X. When you see the mathematical equation that equals God, we are X. We are the unknown. God is not the unknown. We are the unknown. We got to know ourselves. You look at blank plus X equals God. We are the X. We got to figure out what that is. And by getting to know ourselves, we bridge the gap between ourselves and the answer. We bring all worlds together. We bring all worlds together. All these elements, all these pieces come together to form us. That's when everything is complete. Everything is complete once we are here. Everything is complete once you are here. And when I say once you are here, I mean once you are in your own life. Because so many of us don't even know ourselves. We're not even living within our own lives. We live in a fantasy world, or we're being dragged down by lust. We're being dragged down by hate. We're being dragged down by some goofy philosophy or some political association. We're not even present within our own lives. When was the last time you were fully in the present moment? When was the last time you was fully here? When was the last time you was fully focused on yourself here in this moment? Not worried about bills, not worried about everything else, because all that other stuff is not you. You stressing over money, you stressing over your job, that's not you. When was the last time you was fully here? When was the last time you spoke to yourself? When was the last time you discovered something new about yourself? What kind of relationship do you have with yourself? We looking at these quantum particles and breaking down everything that God did, everything the universe did culminates in us. And I'm not saying that in an egotistical sense. I'm saying look at the splendor of consciousness. Look at our consciousness compared to the consciousness of these other beings all around us. We have an amazing creative capacity. Even just this right here, the use of language, the use of complex language to express complicated ideas. This is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. We do this and no other creatures can do this. That's why God created us so that he could be known. These other creatures can't know him. They can't unlock the secrets of themselves and open up that door and see the God within. We can. And once we do that, then 12, completion. All necessary parts of the system are present to create a whole. Wholeness is divinity. All of us, most of us are broken into pieces. We a jigsaw puzzle of traumas and repressed desires. But when you can put those pieces together and be whole, that's divinity. That's divinity. That is God. And I have no problem with saying that to you guys, because it's even in the Bible, for those Christians out there, is it not written that ye are gods? For my Muslim brothers, doesn't it say in the Quran that Allah made man and told all the angels to bow down and pay obeisance to man? Is that not a God? Does it not say in the Bible, in the book of Luke, that Adam was the son of God? If we're the descendants of Adam, don't that make us gods too? Don't that make us the descendants of God? Everything comes to completion when you come to completion, when we come to completion. Keep fighting to be complete. Keep fighting to be whole. Peace and blessings. I will see you tomorrow.